So anyway, hiyo ndio time nilijua like niko positive.
You are watching Jtv, your #1 Christian channel.
Good afternoon, viewers. Welcome today to the very hot Thursday and another very hot one. Today we have an awesome guest. His name is Edwin Gitau. I hope I've put it in the right order.
Yeah, sure. It's supposed to be Edwin Gitau Kibe. Yes.
So we thank God for him. We thank God for him being our guest today. And Kibe Edwin Gitau is amongst the many qualifications that he has. I have to read. He's a certified addiction psychologist in Kenya. He's a consultant on drugs and alcohol and substance abuse prevention, treatment and rehabilitation of persons. He also holds a master's in project planning and management from Nairobi University. He also has a degree for BCom from the University of Madras in India. India.
Kabisa.
And he's also the founding director of Uhai Center, Kenya, which is based in Thika, and an associate faculty member at Mount Kenya University. He's also the director of Global Goodwill Ambassadors in Kenya. He's also a member of International Society of Substance Use Professionals, ISAP. Also a member of the World Federation Against Drugs, and also a member of the Addictions Prevention Rehabilitations Associations of Kenya. And many more other qualifications to come, or the ones that I've not mentioned. But last but not least, he's also a published author of 2 books that we have here today, which we'll show you later on. But at the end of the day, we need to know, where did this whole journey start? So, who are you? Wewe ni nani?
Thank you very much, Bernard. I'm really glad to be with you this afternoon here at Judah TV. It is a great honor. I feel privileged, and in fact, I feel that you guys are doing the right thing. This is what we need at the moment, this time in at this stage in time where you're doing the right thing. Media is a very powerful tool, especially in educating, reaching to masses, and you're doing that and doing it very well. I thank God for you. So my viewers, my name is Edwin Gitau Kibe. I am from Thika here in Kenya, and I am a father, I am a husband, I am a father, I have so many titles, I wear them, I have so many hats. So I'm married to one wife, her name is Faith, father of 3 children, Vincent, Mary, and Caleb. And I thank God, because I always believe that the family is the foundation of, is the most basic unit of the society. So I like mentioning this, that I'm a recovering alcoholic. I'm 11 years in recovery, and I thank God for that.
Yes.
It has not been nice, it has not been smooth, but we are always told that behind every man there is a story. There is a story to tell.
Yes.
So I feel good to be at Judah this afternoon, and I know you're going to learn more. So my viewers, our viewers, please be prepared for quite an informative session. Thank you, Benji.
Yes. Wow. Now, you have mentioned that you're a recovering addict.
Yes.
Alcoholic.
Yes, alcoholic. Yeah.
And this has led you to become this the man with the very many titles.
Yeah, sure. Yeah.
So where did the story start? So what was your background? How did you grow up?
Wow, thank you very much. I like sharing that, and I don't share it to show how I'm big or how I am successful or how, but I'm sharing this for those people who are in this problem: substance use, alcoholism, drug and substance abuse. Let them know that there is life after recovery, and that recovery is a reality. I come from a very humble background, and I was brought up just like any other child, an ordinary child. I was brought up very well, good education, because I remember in my primary school days, I did a few years, my formative years up to class 5, I was in a day school. Then from there I went to a boarding school. High school, I scored very good marks, and I joined a county high school, scored good grades. I got the grades that propelled me to the university, and in fact I went to a good university in India. That was in 1998. That is when I started my first, or rather my undergraduate, Bachelor of Commerce, Accounts option.
No culture shock. What is wrong?
It was that. That's what is that one is real, and I know I have followers who are in India.
Yes.
And I loved the place.
Yes.
And in fact it opened my mind. I saw now life from a different perspective. The Indian culture.
Which side of India were you?
I was in South India. I was in South India in a state called Tamil Nadu, Chennai. Chennai is actually neighboring Sri Lanka. It's the tail of India.
Okay.
So I was there for 5 years, joined University of Madras, did Bachelor of Commerce, Accounts, then did Higher National Diploma in Sales and Marketing, so many computer packages, accounting packages.
Yes.
And all this time, I was a social drinker. I would drink because alcohol is a social drink. It's just like tea, it's only that we abuse. And it's very important to mention at this juncture that today we'll be addressing the abuse, because I believe alcohol has some use, but today we'll talk about the abuse. So I was just using it as a social drink, just like with my peers, with my fellow classmates. And I completed my first degree, BCom, Accounts, Higher National Diploma in Sales, a Diploma in Business Management and Computer Packages. And then I felt I needed to do further education. And all this time round, my parents were my sponsors, because in India you cannot get side hustles. No. You
went to school.
Every penny that I used for feeding, it came from Kenya. So they sponsored me, and I'm very grateful to my parents. I really appreciate what they did for me, for my formation. So I had that quench, I had that vision of advancing in education. So I enrolled for a master's degree. I got admissions in Annamalai University, still in India, to do masters in business administration. I applied even in North India, but my parents and the family members, they said this guy has been away for 5 years. Now remember, we are talking of from 1998 to 2001, when I graduated in October. I wanted to go an extra mile and
do another 2 years.
But they told me, no, Edwin, you can't do this. We miss you, we need to see you. And by that time we didn't have the social media. They were there, but it was not so, it was not that good. We had not advanced that much. So we felt the need to have a break. I come to Kenya and then proceed to do masters, and preferably in a different setup, now not the Asian setup, the Asia continent. I thought of looking in a different area. I got admissions for the University of Melbourne in Australia, University of Sydney, Sydney University rather, to go and do my masters in business administration. All this time I didn't have a problem with alcohol, because everything was running smoothly. I didn't see anything. I didn't, the indicators were there, the red flags were raised, but I was not quick to pick them. So I agreed to what my parents had decided, came back to Kenya in 2002, and in the year 2002, after landing in Kenya, financial, there was, if you remember well, that's when we had in 2002 was an electioneering year. We had You had elections, and that is when a transition was happening.
No, very heavy one.
Very heavy one, yeah. So that came with so many issues, and it brought some financial crisis in the family, and I could not go as planned.
Okay.
So I remained in Kenya.
Uh-huh.
But the quench that I had for the thirst that I had for education was still in me. So I went to University of Nairobi and got admissions to do Masters in Business Administration. That was in 2003.
Okay.
But due to the financial crisis in the family and in the country after the election, there were no funds to finance for my studies. So I felt, Bernard, I have a degree, I have a higher national diploma, I have computer packages, I'm good, I'm fully equipped, I have all the requirements to get a job.
Okay.
And in my mind I knew, or what was running in my mind by then, is that the least pay that I can get was a 6-digit salary. All right, that now you can picture the expectations.
Yes.
What I had in mind. But vitu kwa ground tofauti. Things on the ground. So things are very different, because that's not what the life was offering. I mean that's not what I got, because after searching for a job, I first I could not raise fees for University of Nairobi, so I thought, and my parents were still financing my siblings, so I felt it is my duty, because I have all that it takes. But the first job that came my way, Bernard, to be honest with you, the first pay was, after tamaking for 1 year, I got a job and it was paying 7,500 shillings.
Mzee mzima, full degree.
Full degree, working for 30 days.
Yes.
And the basic was 7,500 shillings. Now you can imagine that variance from 100,000 to 7,500. And I tell you, that is where now my issues with alcoholism began. Frustrations. Remember, I had hopes of joining masters while I was in India. I had hopes of joining University of Melbourne. I had hopes of joining Nairobi University. All of them have been crushed. I expected a good pay.
Yes.
Nothing was forthcoming.
What was the job?
I was an accountant.
Being paid 7,000.
Being paid 7,500. It was a cleaning services firm. We used to do cleaning. I remember I used to do Uganda House, Transnational Plaza. I used to do the NHIF building up there in Upper Hill. And I'm the one who was doing the procurement, and I'm the one who was paying the staff. 7,500 shillings.
Viewers, pay your staff very, very well.
Exactly.
Yes.
So that really pushed me to alcoholism gradually. Actually, alcoholism and drug addiction is a very gradual process. You barely notice something is wrong.
So you had said something about indicators.
Yeah.
Before even getting to Kenya, so you already had some indicators.
The indicators, what I meant is the red flags were there, but I could not notice them. I could not pick them.
So in hindsight, what were they?
In hindsight, there was this, you'll drink consistently, but you'll still manage to go to class. You'll do binge drinking. You drink and you don't notice. Remember, I said alcohol is a social drink.
Yes.
And then the thing that we do is that we abuse it. If we there is that proper use, which we are told drink responsibly. There is a way to drink responsibly. But in me, this is something I came to learn later. In me, I had other contributing factors to my alcoholism, because after going back to class, after going for the training and intensive training that I underwent with Nakada, I realized that the environment is a factor. I realized that genetics is a factor, has a factor in the substance abuse. It's something, it's hereditary, you can inherit it. And biological aspect, the biochemical makeup of a human being.
Yes.
To some people it can enhance. It can. There are those people who will drink and you'll not notice. You can take even mizinga mingi ama even so many bottles of beer, but there is that who will take a glass of wine and the whole community will know. That is the biochemical makeup, and it differs from person to person. So looking back, there was that environmental factor, the environment that I was in while I was in India. I didn't know there is an alternative way of having fun or socializing environment. I didn't know that genetically there was I was predisposed, because when I look back in my family, and I like mentioning this so that people can know, my grandpa, who I'm named after, he was a good, he used to make beer, he was an alcoholic, he used to do the traditional brews, Muratina, and there are the repercussions that were there. And the brothers, my uncles, majority, now I have lost 3 uncles to alcohol. 3 uncles, brothers to my father, who have passed on due to alcohol. So when I start looking back, I find, wow, so there could have been that genetical predisposition, which I didn't know. Okay, so viewers, what I'm saying is, if you're an alcoholic, and given a chance, we're going to see who an alcoholic is. Yes. Be careful. You could have transferred those genes to your children, and that's why we are told by Mutudo law that anybody who is found in a club with a child is liable for, and that's why we are told, imprisonment. Those are the legal policies that we've put in place. This is the reason behind it, because you could be waking up a lion or a giant that you'll not be able to wrestle. So that is how that was the introduction to my alcoholism. I took up the job, worked for 1 year, but if you remember those days, because that was in 2003, 2004, that's when in Kenya we had second generation stuff. We had alcohol. We had
at the time it was really born. It came into the market.
Yeah, it came into the market, and it was in a boom. It was a booming business. We had the sachets. Zilikuwa zinatoka even 10 shillings.
Yes.
As little as 10 shillings, you could you had
20 milliliters.
20 mils, which was very conk. I doubt that was 40% volume to volume. We had so many brands, and we had one which was very very marketable because of its potency. It was called it was called Sapphire. I know it is long closed, and so I went down to drinking the second generation.
Wow. And I remember Sapphire, the whole box used to be like 120 shillings.
Precisely. And you just needed 2 sachets and you are down. It knocks you down. So it was cheap locally. I mean, it was easily available. It was accessible. I remember in the back streets of, you see Tom Boyer.
Yes.
Back street of Tom Boyer, there was a club there I used to call Rosarios. And that was, the full street was full of those sachets. Behind Zimbig was, sorry, Zimbig was another place that generations have been lost. Sorry to say so, but it's the truth. So behind there, we had those sachets, and it was a booming business. And sometimes I blame the government, because they would have mitigated this by reducing the flow of this second generation. I remember we used to have even alcohol being imported from our neighboring countries. There are so many Ugandan spirits. We had Konyagi, and well, you see. Yeah. So that accelerated
at Kenyan prices.
At Kenyan prices, it was very affordable. All right. So that brought a big change. There was I mentioned about the genetics.
Yes.
And now these genes have been woken up by the initial drink, the very first drink. You wake up the genes, and by the time you realize that now you're in alcohol, you've become a full-blown alcoholic, it's too late. Because I worked at the as an accountant for around 1 year. And then I lost the job due to alcohol. And since I could not stand, or I could not manage my life well in Nairobi, I had to look for the cheapest life in Nairobi. So I went to Mlango Kubwa. Now, next to Mlango Kubwa is the biggest brewery in Nairobi.
And it's not Kenya Breweries.
And it's not Kenya Breweries. The best distillers of Chang'aa. Yeah? We have it in Mathare. Hiyo mto hiyo nimekunywa Chang'aa sana. It was very serious. Stopped coming to Nairobi. Life in a slum, because Mathare is a slum, is very cheap. With as little as 50 shillings,
You found somewhere to sleep.
you have somewhere, you've eaten, you have smoked, you have drunk. With 100 shillings, you are a very rich fella. That is the life in the slums. So I lived there for 1 year, and until I realized that it's very shameful, having gone all the way to India, somebody with a degree and accounting packages,
Yes.
then celebrating at in a slum. It's similar to what we are saying is, or rather what I'm trying to say is that you have a high-end wedding, but the reception is where? Dam side. That's why you go to cut the cake.
Does not make sense.
It doesn't make sense.
No.
You've gone to India. I nowadays I ask myself, do you need a degree to become a Chang'aa
Distiller, no.
So what I'm saying is it was a very tough one, but I always thank God, because at one point, all this time my family members were looking for me, but due to guilt I could not face them. I felt like I don't fit in that society, I don't fit in the family, I'm a black sheep. I started feeling like I have messed up my life. I don't fit, because I had all that. I was given everything that was required to have a good life. But I thank God today, because they never rejected me. Of course, they were saddened by change of events, yeah. But I thank God they never at any one time sent me away from home.
Okay.
They were with me. In fact, they tried convincing me to go look for treatment, and just like there is no alcoholic initially, there is no alcoholic who will come out and say, I have a problem. There is that denial stage. And I lived in that denial stage for quite a number of years. So much happened until when I decided to go to rehab.
So this time you had to move back to Thika.
I had to move back to Thika. Unfortunately, I left Mathare and went to Thika. In Thika we have a very big slum. I think it's the second largest from Kibera. It's called Kiandutu. Kiandutu is another den of so many bad things there. And I went there. So things changed to us from a frying pan into the fire, because in Thika, in a river called Ndarugo, I went to brew Chang'aa there, down to the river. I used to be the taster, to know when Chang'aa is distilled, is a spirit. And if you remember the process of distillation that we did in high school, fractional distillations and all that stuff, yeah?
Yes.
It comes out as a vapor. Ndio maana inaitwa steam. Comes out in steam, and that steam is usually 100% alcohol. So it's very concentrated. An amount of vapor alcohol to this amount, this can dilute up to almost 3 liters or 5 liters with water. 100% alcohol. So I'm the one who was used to taste. You taste this to know whether you had the right ingredients, whether it is coming out as expected, whether it is 100%, and then I'm the same person who will go there to dilute it
And it's very hot at that point.
Very hot, very hot. It's steam.
So you used to have your own spoon.
Oh my goodness.
Not
It was a very terrible life, very terrible life. But I thank God. That time, all my lips were, they had turned red. I was emaciated. I was looking like. I like sharing this story, not to say that you will come out like I did, but to tell you, if you are in a position to come out of it, if you have somebody who can sponsor you for a treatment program, take it. Please do it. Because only one out of 5 can survive. I normally say all the members that we used to hang out with,
yes,
I'm the only survivor. And that's why I do what I do. I know that time will come and we'll talk. So that is Edwin Gitau Kibe. And in 2011, my journey in recovery began.
So you went for treatment?
I had to go to rehab.
Yes, willingly?
It was not willing. Initially it was not willing, because I remember I went to rehab in Gong, some area near Matasia, and the facility is called U-Turn for Christ. From Thika to U-Turn in Gong is 3 hours maximum.
Yes.
But it took me 1 month to get to U-Turn for Christ.
1 month from Thika to...
1 month from Thika. It took me 1 month. But basically...
You're stopping at every shopping center.
That's a story for another day. Because it took me time. And let me tell you, especially viewers of Judah TV, that there is power in prayers. There is that spiritual aspect that most of us tend to ignore, but mine, I have a testimony, it's through prayers. So you who is viewing, know that you should not relent. Say your prayers, and say for those who are not praying, pray for them.
Okay.
I am a testimony that there is power in prayers. There is power, because mine is whole spiritual. My recovery journey is about God.
Yes.
All right.
Yes.
Because even today, I fail to understand how I survived, and the rest are 6 feet under. All right. So I see the grace of God, and that's why I do what I do willingly and so passionately, because I'm a remnant, and I'll preach the gospel of sobriety. Yes.
So you got to treatment facility, you stayed there for the allotted time?
Yeah, I went to the U-Turn for Christ. I thank Pastor Duncan. He is the man behind it.
Yes.
It's a spiritual program. I went there for 60 days. But I was determined. I was so determined because since 23rd of November, the year 2011, to today, I've not had a sip of alcohol.
Wow.
I've not touched any chemical substance that can intoxicate my mind. So I thank God for the journey and all those people who are involved. First, to my wife, she persevered a lot. She used to carry me like a baby. When she finds me on trenches, she'll lift me up.
So you got married in your
along the way. It's a long story. It's a long story. Along the way, I got married to a graduate from Jomo Kenyatta University of Agriculture.
Okay.
And that happened in 2007. And we were blessed with the firstborn in 2008.
Yes.
That is when my firstborn came to this life. And let me say that she really supported me. My parents, my mother supported me. My father supported, or even my brothers, they were there for me. That's why, as a family, you who is watching and you who will follow us after this, know that when everything else goes sour,
you have to go back home.
Home, east or west. So make peace with your members of the family.
Yes.
Always treasure them. Always know that even when things go wrong, that's where you can get help. Yes.
So you finished the treatment program, and And how has it been since? Because you went on a marathon of school.
Yeah. yeah, it happened like I finished a program in 2011, November 23rd. That's when I left U-Turn for Christ. It was a spiritual program that laid the foundation of my sobriety. That's why I thank the facility. And since then, I realized that, you know, there is this notion with common people, with ordinary people, that somebody who is in alcohol, somebody who is in drug use, that person has been bewitched. There is nothing like kurogwa. Umejiroga mwenyewe. These chemicals, they change the brain. They change the way the perception of things. The mental perception is changed by alcohol, is changed by cigarette, is changed by marijuana, is changed by heroin. Mention them. All right.
Yes.
And before you realize this, things have already gone sour. So what happened? I wanted to know, now that I'm from treatment and I can sleep and wake up. By the way, before I forget,
yes,
do you know it was a shocker for me when I left rehab, because it's somewhere interior. When I came back to home in Thika, I started hearing cocks crowing. I never used to hear birds singing. I never used to hear cocks, because see, jogo wika sangapi?
4 a.m.
4 a.m. 3, 4 a.m. By that time, as an alcoholic, you are deep dead asleep.
Yes.
So these things used to pass. Until when I became sober, I started now recovering, rebuilding, now seeing things in a different, now the things, nature you see. Number one, there is the change in you, the biological change. There is the natural change. You start seeing things as they're supposed to be. You're coming back to life. That's what we call to rehabilitate. Where does the word rehabilitate? Is to bring back something that was there, make it habitable.
Yes.
So it was quite a task, but I wanted to know what actually was going on in my life.
You wanted to know,
what changed? What did I? Which button did I press that I was not supposed to?
yes,
And let me say that I went back to class, started my CPAs, did CPA 1, CPA 2.
wow,
I went to Nairobi University to try and revive my admission. There is somewhere I skipped, and you'll allow me to mention this.
Okay.
During my drinking spree, I lost all my academic documents, everything, birth certificate, primary, secondary, university, driving license, passport. They were in one folder, and I misplaced them all.
wow.
So
That
is the damage that alcohol and drugs can bring in your life. It is very painful, and that's why I say there is Holy Spirit in me. There is God who I always like to listen to the voice of the Holy Spirit, because He has walked with me all along. I lost all these documents, but I managed to secure admission at the University of Nairobi, because my recovery started. I mean, my master's degree. I did my master's degree after recovery. What am I saying? That I wanted to know what actually was happening in my life. I've not been bewitched. Now things have started coming back to normalcy.
Yes.
What was happening? And I like I'm saying, drugs change the way you perceive things. You become lazy thinking. You become lazy implementing what your thoughts, your ideas.
Yes.
You become short-sighted. I mean, you don't have a vision. When you find life is comfortable when you're drinking, you don't have a vision, you don't have a goal, you don't have anything. And only people who love you will try to bring you back. So I went to class. I joined a program, a sponsored program. It was a subsidized program by Nakada, and I want to thank Nakada Kenya, because they brought a program that has really changed my life. as an individual, changed the life of my family,
Yes.
changed the lives of so many thousands of people that I have come across. They did the best thing. That course, and there is one lady, her name is Joan Gitau, a psychologist based in Thika. She's the one who introduced me to NACADA,
Yes.
and she's also a member of the programs in NACADA. She runs, she's consulted when it comes to making the programs. So she introduced me, and that was the best thing for me, because I knew the pharmacological aspect of all drugs, what was happening in my body, what had happened in my brain, what had happened in my kidneys, what had happened, so many things.
So you saw
Nilijiona through that program.
Yes.
I saw everything, because when I was listening to the lecturer, and there is one guy called Job Kithinji, wherever he is, I believe he's following us. Job Kithinji and another lady called Rose Idara. They really took us through a very self-reflecting program, because I could see myself in what they were lecturing on. So I underwent the program. It was an intensive one. It went for 2 years, to be precise. It was 2 years program, and I understood myself. Then remember, I told you that I had enrolled for MBA, University of Annamalai in South India,
Yes.
University of Melbourne in Australia, and University of Sydney,
Yes.
and again now in Nairobi University, and it was Masters in Business Administration. But now along the way, I have lost my documents. But there is a saying that your dreams are valid, and if you follow them, you will achieve them. I followed it up even without the papers. But I thank God I got admissions in 2015. Started my program, my master's degree in 2015, Nairobi University, and in 2017 I graduated.
That's awesome.
So it was strictly 2 years program. But if you look, I graduated in 2017, but the initial intention to pursue masters was in 2003. So how long did it take to...
Wow.
All right.
Wow.
So it's almost 12 years or thereabout.
Yeah.
But I thank God it came to reality that I pursued my master's degree, and that is now the source of my programs, my outreach programs. I do a lot of outreach programs to help people who are in alcoholism and drug abuse. I do counseling.
Yes.
I do mentorship programs, because if what propels me, where do I derive the passion? Because I almost lost it. So I wouldn't want anybody else to lose an opportunity.
Yes.
So I try to pick up the fallen guys. I call them fallen heroes, because once you rehabilitate someone and helps him to achieve his goal or his dream,
Yes.
that guy becomes a hero. So that's why I derive my passion to do mentorship programs,
Yes.
counseling. I do so much with prevention, treatment, and rehabilitation.
Wow. So okay.
It's a long story. In fact, I've tried to nimechinja
So-
for the interest of time. Yeah.
So today we have 2 books that you have authored,
Yes.
and is this one?
Yeah.
Karibia kamera kabisa.
Mm.
It's called Surviving an Addiction,
Yes.
and the second one is Parenting for a Positive Future.
Yes.
So what is the synopsis of both?
Just like I'm sharing here, I felt like now this is a very limited time of period of time that we are here,
Yes.
and somebody would want to know much about addiction. How did you come out of it? This book will tell you about my life,
Yes.
what I went through, how I came out of it.
Yes.
Surviving an addiction, this is not meant for the people, only people who are fallen, because that guy who is deep down in addiction will not have time to read this.
He's very busy drinking.
Very busy drinking.
Yes.
This book narrates a story on how you can prevent yourself from getting into alcohol. That is the concept number one. How to prevent, how you can survive without getting into alcohol. The preventive measures are here.
Yes.
How you can survive after having fallen into alcohol, the skills on how to come out, and how to survive after. This other one, I realized that I have addressed so much the persons in recovery, but I realized after going, I have so many school programs in Thika and in Kiambu at large. I do so many educational programs. I realized that I'm addressing the wrong people. I'm talking to the children. I'm talking to the children mostly, forgetting the parents. So this one is meant for the parents. It's a very informative book. It's a small, pocket friendly, but it addresses the parents. And when we are here, I think it's good to mention that there is a lot that is happening today with our children. Okay? A lot is happening with the young generation and the young parents per se, because there is that bracket of young parents and the young generation who are in school. There is so much, I don't know how to put it, there is a lot of mess. Recently we have had episodes of nasty things happening to families, like the most recent one. All right?
Like, for example, just yesterday's news, you're talking about 40-something kids being found in bars and events. That's in Eldoret. The last 3 months, young ladies be disappearing.
They are not known what they are going to do, and even when they come back, they don't want to be asked questions because they are threatening to commit suicide. So,
and then there is a young man who had mental health challenges, who decided to kill the whole family.
The entire family, he wiped the whole family. And was there aspect of alcoholism and drug abuse with that guy? Very prominent, with a girlfriend who was found in Thika. So, I felt I should address the parents, the families. And that's where I got, because I felt a tree does not fall far from the, a fruit does not fall far from the tree. What we are seeing today is a mirror of ourselves, our families.
This is what we have allowed.
This is what has happened. Okay, we may say that the pandemic has contributed to it because of that long duration, but even that said, there is a lot to do with parenting. There is a lot to do with parenting, because in my own thinking, and even according to some research, you'll find that due to the hard economic times that we are going through, as a father, I'll want to sustain the family, so I'll wake up at 5 a.m. and leave for Nairobi or go to my place of work. The mother will go to, and there is no ample time for you and the children. So there is a gap. There is a big gap that has come in between children and parents. When we were brought up, Bernard, I would see my mom and dad every evening after school. I'll find them at home. We had big chunks of shambas by then. We had so many sources of income by then. But things have changed today. And striking a balance of how to sustain the family through earnings, how to make a living, and the bond with your children is become a big challenge. That said, I'm not saying it's the only factor. We have the factor of the advancement of technology. Technology has really contributed. It has cross-pollinated things. Like now when we are talking here, there is somebody who is in Canada watching me, somebody who is in India,
somebody in Afghanistan watching me,
somebody in Afghanistan, and there There is no control to this, right?
Yes.
Now you can imagine a bunch of guys who have been let the technology. You give this to your child and ndio umuonesha mapenzi that you love your child, you get him or her handset, and she goes into her bedroom and she has access to internet and can communicate with. So you are there in the house, your child is in the house, you expect that your child is, everything is alright, but she'll order stuff, she'll see first how it is administered on the internet,
Yes.
and then it will be dropped on your doorstep without your knowledge, and then a text comes, she walks out and comes back, and then you will find the mode of administration. There is the emerging trends of drug abuse today is so advanced that you wouldn't realize. We have some lotions, you just apply a lotion like this and that kid will be high, hata nuka mdomo. Alright? So the technology, parenting, and also there is that element of prayers, the spirituality.
Yes. We have decided to become a quasi. We have run away from the church.
We run away from God. There is no hatujui Mungu. We are not prayerful. Right?
Yes.
And what you are seeing today, our children going in a room and enclosing themselves there, that is exactly what we used to do during COVID, when it was intense and there was a lockdown. You'll find how many times have you had people along Gong Road wamepatikana, they are drinking, ama wamejifungia somewhere and they are drinking, and the children are still watching. So this is a replica, this is a reflection of what is happening in our families. The violence that you see coming out, or
yeah, the children were beating
the teachers, like was it yesterday in Kisii? Yeah, how can you have the guts to go in a school with a panga? You're sharpening the panga
the whole day.
All right, where has this violence come from? Back in our homes. I normally say this, that if you want to transform the society, start with the family, the source of that society, the origin of that society. I change as an individual. My wife changes as an individual.
Yes.
The two of us, whatever is coming will come out of the two of us, will be something changed because she has changed and I've changed. But the problem with the human being, we are quick to blame. Nakada is not functioning. The area chief is being bribed. Being bribed by who? Why don't you stop giving that bribe yourself? Why don't you kill corruption? And you begin with it. Look at it from this perspective, yeah?
Yes.
That you're blaming the area chief, you're blaming the police, you're blaming the brewer, but you're not remembering that you've been absent
As
a parent. And that's why now science has identified the 3 areas of how to manage the problem that we have. It's good that we tell our viewers that it has been scientifically proven that there are 3 avenues to manage alcoholism and drug abuse. Number 1 is through demand reduction. Demand reduction is like what you are doing today.
Yes.
Telling people that if you're not careful, if you're not aware that genetics, if you're not aware that the environment that you're in can bring problems in your life, I mean, educating, creating awareness and sensitizing, that is number 1, demand reduction, such that even when this kid finds a half bottle of beer in the room that was left by the father, this kid cannot dare take it. Because he or she she's more informed. She knows the consequences. He or she knows that I'll get a cirrhotic liver, I'll get a dysfunctional.
So they will make
informed decisions. They will run away from that one.
Yes.
Demand reduction is number 1. Number 2 Science has proven that we have to cut down the supply of these chemicals and substances. Supply suppression. We have to suppress. Wherever you are, be the change that you want to see. If you are a policeman, do your job. If you find somebody who is selling weed, take that person to jail, to court, let him be jailed. You, the judge, sentence him if you find him guilty. And the person who is in the prison, do your job.
Because at the end of the day, all of these people are parents.
They are parents. They are more informed than the minors that we are accusing now. Okay, so supply suppression. Let's have strict. I always say this, Bernard, and you'll allow me to mention this.
Yes, sir.
That if there are any laws or policies to mitigate or to curb or to contain the problem in the entire world, we call them the Kenyan laws. The Motudo law. If that one is followed to the letter, I'm telling you, 300 meters, there should be no
300 meters of any residential
area or a school, or you see,
yes.
300 meters. But today we find they are bordering this. They are in fact in the school. Don't sell to a minor. Who is this selling to a minor? A grown-up. Okay.
Another parent.
Another parent. So supply suppression. The laws that we have, they are good enough if they implemented to the letter. If there is that political goodwill to implement that law, I think we can have a drug-free nation. This is number 2. Number 3 is the harm reduction and the rehabilitation. Let's accept, and I'll say this facing this camera, that addiction is a disease. Stop stigmatizing people. You can imagine those people who talked negative things about me and now they are watching me. Are you getting what I'm saying? Yeah. Stop stigma. It is a disease. People come out of it. When you take somebody to rehab is a hospital. Look, what is a disease? A disease has symptoms.
Yes.
It has indicators. A disease has professionals who identifies the problem, the doctors.
Yes.
A disease has cure, which is medicine.
Yes.
A disease, somebody can come out of a disease and recover. And those who recover can get reinfection. So when people start saying that alipelekwa rehab for 3 months as amerudia, that is a reinfection that you see for people with TB.
Yes.
All right?
Yes.
You look at it from that perspective.
From the disease angle.
From the disease angle. When somebody relapses, it's just like somebody who had malaria and has been reinfected
by another mosquito.
All right? So don't sideline, don't stigmatize these people. Because that's the biggest problem that we have. Look at him, and they thought he has come from a very rich family, and they have ameharibiwa na wazazi wake tu. Nothing like that. Kabebi kadadi. Well, there are those who have been pampered, but he has a right to life. And since there are those services, I'm a professional in that field.
Yes.
Bernard, you have some basics. I know you are in that field too. Yes. And you are qualified, and you know that there are so many people who have passed through you and they have recovered, and they always thank you for what you've done for them in their lives. Yes. So addiction is a disease. Stop stigma. Let's educate our communities. Lastly, parents, be very careful, because you're the source of all this. I tend to blame the parents, and I request them to do their part. It is very normal. It's very normal during the holidays that we've had.
Yes, and that was the busiest period.
The busiest period.
For you especially.
Yes. Can we just a moment? We move. Hold on to that one. Yeah, we move back a bit, and you'll see that during holidays or during weekends, we want a day out with our family.
Yes.
All right. And Bernard, you'll take your wife and your 2 children who are underage to a resort or land where they can swim or swing or do those fun games for the children. And as they are doing that, you're having your drink with your wife. She's having the can two, the ones that comes in two, in doubles, and you have your bottle here. And that baby comes from the swimming pool, comes and finds you and jumps at you. You know, the kid is excited you've taken him for an outing. Yeah, comes and jumps at you and asks you, "Daddy, what is this? I want to have a sip." Majority of parents, what do they say?
Daddy.
This is for grown-ups. And you think the story ends there. Number one, you've planted a seed of curiosity in that child. Because the drink that you're drinking, after 2-3 hours, you start behaving differently. And the kid is watching. You know you are intoxicated and the kid is sober. And the kid observes that you're even playful, you're having fun. But when you don't take it, uko tu, right? This kid, it comes a time they have lunch and you want to go home and you feel like you've not had enough, you as the daddy, so you ask for 6-pack. Take away. And the wife does the same. And you put in the, when you go home, you put it in the fridge or in the cabinet and you display there.
And for those in the rural areas, you carry the Muratina home.
You carry the Muratina home. Or even the Kanusu, the one with the bottles, you place it there. The kid is still watching. All right? And you are so ignorant that something is happening in his or her life. Then it's 9 p.m. or 7 p.m. and it's about news. Not that. That one is there. That's a factor also. But look at it. It's some minutes to news time, and that is the most prime time for adverts.
Wow.
All right. You're seated with your child here. You've come from swimming. You've packed it in the fridge. The kid is there watching, waiting for news, and then comes a flashy advert, very, very glamorous,
of the same thing
that is in the cabinet. Now this kid this kid is very observative. This stuff I found daddy drinking and mommy was taking too. I found it in there, and now it is being showed on a national TV, so this thing is good. How can you convince a child that thing is negative, anything negative about that?
Because we have 1 minute. Producer anaanza kuturukarukia. Sema stories zenyu haziishi. Mzuri.
But the good thing is that we are passing message to the people who require.
So he's basically, what we're saying is that you're coming back another show.
Yes.
Later on in the
definitely.
year. And the programs that you do are mainly to do with mentoring.
Yeah.
Like December, you're doing a lot of mentorship
programs. I had mentorship programs. I target the age brackets. The most risky part of life for a human being is between age 12 to age 21.
Yes.
Because that's when there is so many biological changes in the human body. The society is looking at you. The girl has started protruding some boobs, and the guys, and there is a lot of confusion, and that's where mostly they get lost. So I normally call them for a seminar, 1-day seminar, and now I'm intending to prolong it, to make it like right now they're in schools. I'm following them in the schools. I have schools. I don't give them a chance. All right. When during holidays, I'm in the churches. I go to churches, organize with it. You call me, the parent who is watching me, you can invite me to your church, or you can invite me to your school and I give a talk, or even in your estate. So I call them and do the drug education.
Yes.
I do the life skills, the communication skills, and I do counseling to those people to the kids who feel. I prepare them during the seminar. I prepare them such that they'll feel free. We bond so well. They'll come and open and share with me. That is the schools program, the underage. I have an upcoming program for the parents. in the churches, in the communities.
Okay, so before you tell us how they can reach you, how much are the books?
This book is 300 shillings. The small book, it's very affordable, very pocket friendly. And this other one is 500 shillings, Surviving an Addiction. And they are available, but for now only in thicker bookshops. I've not been able to spread to Nairobi.
So how can they get you? How can they get in touch with you? How can our viewers?
Viewers, you can reach me through my email, gitaukibe@gmail. Gitau, GITAUKIBE@gmail.com. Facebook, Kibe Edwin Gitau. Kibe Edwin Gitau is my Facebook. LinkedIn, Kibe, all my social media is Kibe Edwin Gitau. And on calls, I'll give my phone number. Is that allowed? Sure. So the number is 0706 230 636. 0706 230 636. You can reach me. And also I know through Judah, if you can reach Bernard here or any other staff at Judah, you can always get my contacts.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. So there you have it. Parents who have been given a challenge, a great challenge as to how we shall bring up the next generation.
Sure.
Yes. So if you need much more information on how to reach us and what you need to do in your specific problems, you can reach us in those contacts that is given you. So for the rest of us from here at Judah TV, shalom and the Lord bless you.
Thank you very much.
You are watching JTV, your #1 Christian channel.